Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to NBR, or as we like to call it around here, Nothing But Rants, the show where I find topics that I'm oddly passionate about and I pontificate upon them. These are not hot takes, but rather takes that I'm hot about. What's up? You really like that?
Let's shut up and grind some tape.
Okay, it's not great right now at Alabama with regards to the quarterback room, and yet for some reason everybody's just turning a blind eye. I get it. They have a great recruiting class. They have a great offensive line, but guess what? They're going to be starting a true freshman at left tackle. Whether it's Elijah Pritchett or whether it's the kid from Iowa that I'm drawing a blank on right now. Okay, Caden Proctor, the number one offensive tackle. Yes, 5-star, great. My number one tackle on the board last year, still a true freshman. Caleb Downs, great football player, going to need to play a role in this defense that I keep hearing about is great. They've recruited at a tremendous level at Alabama. But we can't just keep turning blind eyes to everything, like the fact that last year they were 126th in penalties per game. Since when? Since when can Alabama not keep their guys in order? Since when? Since when is Nick Saban, the notorious disciplinarian, finishing 126th in penalties? No quarterback. Transferred a quarterback in midsummer. No quarterback to date right now. And yet, yes, for sure. Don't believe the Bamaganda. We told you. I feel like we were about the only ones that told you. Don't be out here believing the Bamaganda about this football team. We told you there were limitations on that Alabama football team. We told you the idea that they were just going to be able to bully everyone in the year of 2023 just seemed kind of laughable. It's not how college football is played nowadays. The moment you roll up on a football team that can score at will, like they did Saturday night against Texas, you're going to be up a creek without a paddle. Okay, they have holes. They've had obvious holes coming into the season, and some people chose to ignore them because they had, quote, big boys up front. All right, just because you got a great offensive line doesn't mean we can ignore other holes on the roster. That's exactly what we told you, and we figured we would open the show with a little bit of I told you so. Now, let's give you some real analysis, right? Because we did. We had a great football game Saturday night between Alabama and Texas in Tuscaloosa. Let's start with Alabama. I'm not going to be Mr. Hot Take. I'm not going to be out here having any overreactions or over-exaggerations with regards to this loss. We might get some of those tonight, apparently, based off pre-show conversations, but I'm not one to do that. I did learn some things listening to Nick Saban in his post-game press conference. Quote, you don't waste a failing. That was the message from Nick Saban on Saturday night after their 34-24 loss. So, what can you learn from this failing? Because again, as Nick Saban said, you don't want to waste the opportunity to learn from this failing. Well, first of all, Texas had 5 sacks on Saturday night. 4-man rushes, 5-man rushes, 3-man rushes. It didn't really matter. Texas was absolutely getting home to the quarterback. They were flushing Jalen Milroe from the pocket. They probably would have had more sacks had they had a little bit more rush integrity. Okay, I felt like in the first half, particularly Anthony Hill, the freshman, was getting way too far upfield, allowing Jalen Milroe to escape the pocket. But they absolutely smoked that offensive line from Alabama. Alabama got whipped up front. And again, I heard all offseason about how dominant Alabama's offensive line was going to be this week or this season. And they got kind of controlled in their one-on-ones. Even in the running game, didn't really necessarily feel like they were reestablishing the line of scrimmage. I felt like Texas was the far more physical football team up front. And again, all we heard all offseason, how great that offensive line was. And they lost. They lost their one-on-ones on Saturday quite often. Can also tell you that their quarterback, you guys know this, didn't exactly help out the situation. I was talking to an SEC staffer during the football game. I tweeted out about how Alabama's offensive line was getting whipped. And I got a text message within like 2 or 3 minutes from an SEC staffer that said, occasional, doesn't happen very often, but this is a bad take. Alabama's offensive line is playing okay. Their quarterback's just not identifying the open guy. There are plenty of guys open. He's just not figuring out where that open guy is. Now, I think it was a little bit of both. I think it was a little bit of Jalen Milroe having problems finding this secondary read. Guys, do you know why you have problems finding your secondary read and getting off of the primary read? Because you don't know where the secondary read is. It's not that you can't get your eyes off of one. It's that if you take your eyes off of one, you don't know where to take your eyes. So we just lock on to one guy. That's the whole purpose. It's the whole point of why guys don't progress through reads, because they don't know where the reads are. That's very obvious and very apparent when you watch Jalen Milroe play the quarterback position on Saturday. He was locking on number one reads, floating defenders into those viewpoints, and having balls picked off. That's what happened on both interceptions, okay? He stares a guy down, the free defender floats over with his eyes, picks the ball off. Nice and simple. This happens when you don't know where your other reads are in the offense, and we told you that. We, as Georgia quote-unquote insiders, as Georgia homers, came on this network and told you when they did quarterback evaluations, they put the guys on the board, threw very quick response questions at them, and Milroe didn't have 100% retention of the offense. We told you that. August 28th, all right? If we knew that, they knew that. All right, so there wasn't enough of an answer there. We also told you right off of the bat right here to start the show, back from August 28th, guys, yeah, they have talented freshmen. They have recruited exceptionally well. But you're still playing freshmen, okay? And though they're five-star football players, though Caleb Downs, I believe, will be a first-round draft pick one day, I believe he is a transcendent football talent, still a freshman. And guess what happened on Saturday? They attacked him. They did. Caden Proctor, we told you, love him, five-star, ranked him number one tackle in America, still a freshman. Okay? He had 2 critical holding penalties on Saturday. He gave up 2 critical sacks on Saturday. You know why? Because he's a freshman playing in a massive football game. Okay? And those were obvious issues. But here's the main thing for me. Okay? And we can talk about how you need to redesign your offense based solely off quarterback run, taking deep shots, because that's what Jalen Milroe does. We can talk about how you need to get more pressure on the quarterback. We can talk about how your defensive backs need to get better and they don't need to give up more explosives or any explosives. But, dude, I watched another Alabama football team have 10 penalties on Saturday. I watched another Alabama football team have 100 yards worth of penalties. I watched another Alabama football team on the most critical down of the football game, 3rd and medium, jump off sides. Who is this? What is this? Because it's not Alabama football. And these are all the areas of points of concern that we pointed out. And though all 3 of us picked Alabama to win this football game because we have a rule around here, the show me rule. The show me rule caught us in a prediction loss here because all of the signs were there for this. All of the signs were for Alabama to have these holes and for these holes to be exposed, and they were exposed on Saturday night. It is not the end of the season. It is not the end of the road for Alabama. It is not the end of the dynasty. But, okay, there were some holes and they were exposed on Saturday. Let's talk about Texas before I get you guys' thoughts here. First off, what a ballsy and confident game plan Steve Sarkisian walked into that place with on Saturday night. Okay, to be able to willingly throw shots on this football team, it was impressive. It was not only impressive to have executed, but it was impressive to have called them in general. This is a football team and a quarterback, by the way, that despite all of their talents and abilities, they hadn't thrown the deep ball worth of shit all season. And they hadn't thrown the deep ball worth of shit in the year past. Okay? Coming into this football game, balls thrown 25 yards or further past the line of scrimmage, Quinn Ewers was completing 25% of them. Last week against Rice, he was 0 for 7. They designed a game plan on the road, 7.5-point dog against Alabama, against the greatest coach in college football history, designed a game plan off of executing something that they had no proof of concept that they could do. Think about that. That's what they did. They walked into that football game telling their guys, we are going to take shots. And their coach stood on 10 toes, stood 10 toes down and called that. On the road, again, with a football team that had no prior proof of concept that they could do that. To me, that was the game. The fact that he went in there and did that was the game. The other thing that I took away from this football game, recruiting and the portal 100% matter. Okay, they 100% matter. There were 2 pivotal players in this football game that Texas does not win this football game without. They do not win this football game without Anthony Hill rushing from the edge as a true freshman. They just don't. They do not get pressure on Milroe. They don't run him out of the pocket. They don't create as many turnovers without Zero creating pressure on the quarterback. And they damn sure don't win this game without A.D. Mitchell, who they grabbed from the portal. Those 2 football players showed up in the most critical moments of this football game, okay? And they were additions that were brought onto this football team in January through only roster acquisition. That is it. roster addition and acquisition, and pouring resources into areas that you need to pour it into. But I thought this, for me, was the most impressive thing about Saturday. The confidence was one thing. The game plan was another. The willingness to stick on the game plan is another. Having your guys ready to play, all that great stuff. All great coaching. All great coaching. But, man, when I watch Steve Sarkisian's football teams play well, they play so loose, so free. They have so much confidence. They have so much joy. They have so much fun. I saw a video today of A.D. Mitchell during Dixieland Delight playing, okay, right to start the fourth quarter. They do that redneck shit out there at Alabama where they play that Dixieland Delight song. I love it. It's a good song. All right, don't get me wrong. But they're out there doing the redneck stuff, and they're trying to get the team hyped right heading into the fourth quarter. And you know who's over there dancing, doing the electric slide to Dixieland Delight? A.D. Mitchell on the sideline. Could not have a care in the world because he's confident. He was free. They were playing free. They were playing with house money. Okay, they were playing relaxed. And look, it's some of the same stuff. All right, now I can sit here and give credit. I can sit here and give props. But it's the same stuff I've shit on Texas for in years past, where you just don't show up. You're playing a little bit too loose, playing a little bit too free, and then you go out there and get upset. But in games like this, man, guys can get tight, guys can get nervous, and having a football coach that instills confidence in your football team is vital, and it showed up on Saturday night in that football game. Now, here's the problem. We have talked about on this network being a show-me football team or a show-me network. You have to show me before we believe it. And you did show me. You showed me that you could win a football game. You showed me that you can win a tight, heavily contested football game. You showed me that you could possess the football. All right, you could run clock off at the end of the football game against a program like Alabama. You showed me a lot on Saturday, Texas. But it's time for me to move the bar on you because that's what we do. When you do something that we wanted you to show us, we move it just a little bit more. All right? Show me consistency now, okay? I sent the boys a text message on Saturday night in the middle of the third quarter, okay? And here it is. It says, win, lose, or draw, Texas has shown me they are good enough to win a title. In a singular football game, Texas can beat anybody in this country. They showed that on Saturday. Hell, they showed that on Saturday, September 9th last year against Alabama. Now, show me you're good enough and consistent enough to be the best team and remain undefeated out of the Big 12 slate that is relatively manageable. If you show me those things, we're good. We're Sark believers the rest of time. And I'll be honest, I went back like I do every single big game. I want to go listen to that coach after. I want to hear what he has to say. And do you know what he said? He said, I told our guys this week, and I've been telling them every single week leading up to this football game, this game will not define our season. Win, lose, or draw, this game does not define us. We have got to finish the rest of the season. We have got to remain consistent. We have got to win every single week. We've got to approach every single week like it's Alabama week. And you know what? That's the first thing he said at the podium. So, you know what? Give him 3. Let's give him 3. I'm here for it, baby. Like, I've not been a Sark believer. We've come out here and we've basically taken Sark out a little bit more than some people have on other networks. But we're here. He did the things and said the things that you're supposed to do after a win like that.
Yeah, Texas overall was just impressive with me. I said that I don't know that I can recall a time where Texas or another team dominated Alabama, it felt like, at the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. Texas was just imposing their will on the offensive line, and then on the flip side, they were getting in the backfield, disrupting Jalen Milroe, and even if his first read was open, it really didn't matter because he was running for his life, and he was having to just be off script for a large portion of the game, it seemed like. But the deep shots, I think, is what really told the story of the game, because if you are going to beat a team like Alabama, specifically in their own stadium, you're going to have to take shots, and more importantly, you got to hit those shots, and that's exactly what Texas did with A.D. Mitchell, Xavier Worthy. So props to them, man. They proved a lot of people wrong, and they showed up big time. And
like we talked about, providing the confidence in your players, the 1st and 10 deep ball coming out of their own end in the fourth quarter that A.D. Mitchell caught, Quinn Ewers checked to that. I mean, the ball's inside their 5. And he has the balls to check out and say, no. We're going to throw this one-on-one deep shot right now. We're going to take it. And they hit it. And, I mean, it was from then on, it was like, all right, Texas is obviously winning this football game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, shout out to Sark for proving all of us wrong. They finally did do what no one really thought you could do, is beat Bama at home. And they did it in a fashion that we haven't seen in years, where they dominated pretty much the entire game. So
I think Bama had one lead.
yeah, it was when they went up 16-13. Other
Yep.
than that, it was all Texas. So Sark, like you said, now it's show me you can be consistent, which I think is the biggest concern.
Now I can't believe I'm gonna do this, but I'm gonna clear the floor because apparently you have a take to deliver. I mean, is this first take? Is this first real take you've ever had? Do you feel confident about this?
I feel very confident in this.
All right,
actually.
then let it rip, man.
So
Go for it.
Before
you
I
know
go,
what? We programmed it. Give yourself the ISO, dog. Come on.
All right,
put it
hold
in
up.
there. Go on. Put it in.
Oh, let me put it in.
Look at the kid. We're gonna give you your first ever ISO on the show.
Oh shit.
Uh-oh.
That looks good.
Uh-oh.
That looks
Uh-oh.
good.
All right, let's go. Let's
So
hear it.
before I get into this, I want to lead off with the fact that Alabama absolutely has everything in front of them. I'm not burying their season. I'm not saying that this Alabama team is done, but I think Nick Saban has realized that he is done.
So this team's not done, but Saban is.
I think Saban is done.
Okay.
And let me look at this out. This is my theory. The 2020 season was when Alabama reached its peak. They had the best offense, best defense. Devontae Smith wins a Heisman. Saban wins 7. He's the unanimous GOAT in college football. I think something inside of him on that night when he hosted up his trophy, he reached some point of satisfaction as a coach. And satisfaction, as we all know, is the death of progress, right? So now look at every team that he's had since that. 2021, you sleepwalk against Florida. You lose to a very bad Texas A&M team, and it's kind of, oh, they're going to go scorched earth on everyone. They're not going to make this mistake again.
Yeah.
Well, he came out super flat in the Auburn game.
Yeah.
Not to mention all of that, these Bama teams haven't looked as disciplined. We've always said, there's something missing. These don't look like, the Bama teams of old where they would strike fear into an opponent's heart. Obviously, you go on to win the SEC championship. You go out, you lose that national championship, and Nick Saban is smiling with Kirby Smart after it. That was odd to me. And everyone kind of took it as, he's happy for Kirby, but he also knows, I know what I have coming back next year. 2022 is the revenge season. You've got Bryce Young, Heisman. You've got the best defensive player in the country in Will Anderson. What happens? You come out flat again. You lose to LSU. You get scorched by Tennessee. And it's all over again. Now we're in 2023, and we spent the entire offseason listening to how, this is the new Alabama team. They're going to bring back bully ball. Nick Saban's going to punch everyone in the mouth. All things like that. Week 2, you lose to Texas. And, by the way, you had 10 penalties. And the most interesting part about this at the podium to me was after the loss, Nick Saban comes up and he talks about, how proud I am to be a part of these games. Nick Saban has coached in 5 different games that were bigger than this game.
Mm-hmm.
Let's be real. I mean, it was a big game. It was number 3 versus number 11 prime time. You've coached in 7 national championships. Not once has he gone, I'm super proud of this moment. Not to mention, he's doing McAfee every Thursday, and everyone's going, he's smiling at his pressers. He knows what team he has. Nick Saban is a satisfied head coach who has realized that he is the GOAT, and he does not have anything left to prove. I'm not saying he's mailing it in. I'm not saying he's going to not trying any harder. I'm not saying he's not going to coach hard, but he does not have that edge that he had that you see in guys like Kirby Smart and even Steve Sarkisian, where they had to feel the need to win. That's why I'm out on Nick Saban. I think, and this is a hot take. I don't know if I believe this or not, but I think 2023 is his last season.
Oh, you think he's retiring?
I think he's retiring. Look at everything he's been doing. He's doing more Aflac commercials. He's going on McAfee every Thursday.
Dude,
he's smiling. He looks like a guy who has had the weight lifted off his shoulders because, one, he knows he's the GOAT. He's the right to be satisfied. He's the absolute GOAT of college football. But 2, he doesn't really have anything left to prove. He doesn't need to win another national championship. He doesn't need to go out and say, screw it, I don't need a Bryce Young. He's done everything. He's done it all.
I feel like I watched my child take their first steps for the first time. Man's making his first take right here. I don't know if I agree with it. I don't love throwing dirt on Nick Saban. And honestly, like the best way to make a career out of this is to never say anything bad about Nick Saban. But Mans is 71 years old. Mm-hmm. Like, at some point, it does have to come to an end. And I think he's pursuing that one. He wants one more title. Why, I don't know. But he clearly wants a swan song and wants to walk off. To me, the reason the regime as a whole looks worse than it ever has is because there's no transcendent quarterback play. I got into an argument with an Alabama fan in our YouTube comments about this when I did the Bama propaganda thing, the Bamaganda. Don't believe it. Guys, that dude out there at Tuscaloosa has had NFL quarterback play since 2017. 2017. He's had a great NFL quarterback playing for him. And now he doesn't have one. And now he's having to win football games in manners that he hadn't had to win in 8 years. Think about that. That is 6 years of great quarterback play. That is a long-ass time. And now we have new OC, new DC, okay, new quarterback, all right? Lots of new, all right, for a guy who, by the way, didn't make his career as being an offensive juggernaut, right? Nick Saban's known for his defenses, always has been, okay? He wasn't known for offense. Alabama wasn't known for offense until a guy by the name of Lane Kiffin came around, all right? And a guy by the name of Tua Tagovailoa came around. A guy by the name of Jalen Hurts came around. And then, oh, by the way, Mac Jones. And then, oh, by the way, Bryce Young, okay? All of which were essentially first-round draft picks. Jalen Hurts was a 45th overall selection, okay? All of which were essentially first-round draft picks. All of which, except for Mac Jones, are going to play at MVP caliber levels, I believe, in the NFL. So, yeah, I understand why you would have pessimistic thoughts about the Alabama regime right now. I'm not out here throwing dirt on it.
And like I want to go back to it. Like
don't caveat.
No. It's more of the show me thing. For 3 years, it's been we've just put blind trust because it's Alabama, it's Nick Saban, they'll figure it out, and they haven't done it yet. And it seems like they've been getting worse. So it's not the point where I'm like Nick Saban has to again show me. He's shown us plenty of times before. He is unanimously the GOAT. There's no debating that. But at this point now, it's show me that you still have that fire. Show me you can still field a team that is going to be the dominant force in college football. He can coach till the day he dies, and Alabama will be a 10-2 team every year. That's not the point.
Yeah.
But I don't think Nick Saban has the drive to win a national title. He wants to win a national title. This is going to be a weird comp, but I kind of see it as Conor McGregor, where he's hit his peak, but he still loves what he does. He's still, I'm still in the fight game and everything. But you can tell that he's not the same guy who has that drive. He's not the killer he once was.
Facts. I mean, I could see it. I don't know why I said facts. I said facts just because I wasn't listening. And I was trying to look at a clip right here. It's a Carson Beck highlight. I just wanted to look at it. It's a dime. I finally take a deep shot, God forbid, and Aaron Smith catches a 45-yard bomb. Man, there's a lot wrong. You have bad quarterback play and you're undisciplined and you're giving up, multiple sacks in a football game like that. Not great, Bob. Not great at all. I'm just not here for the throwing the dirt on it. Hey, welcome into tonight's show. We got a great one for you. Is the SEC bad this year? We're going to talk about it. I got my top 12 for you. We're going to finish up our Bama and Alabama reactions, even though I think we already did that. We're going to talk about that Texas A&M and Miami game. And Colorado just keeps out here proving doubters wrong, even though someone referred to them as America's team the other day. So I don't know how many doubters they got left out here. Whoa was right. My first thought immediately, I was like, I know America likes smoking weed, but not that much. Anyways, got a great show for you guys. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button. Make sure you're subscribing. If you're new to the channel, we appreciate you for being here. The likes to ratio to subscribe ratio, not necessarily the best. We can do better on it, right? As a fan base, as an audience, and a listening viewership, you guys could do just a tad bit better. Hit that thumbs up button, just like we could do a little bit better with our opinions and our takes, because we're 0 for 3 on that Texas and Alabama game. For that, lo siento, mi amigos.
Hey, that prize picks, though.
Hey, that prize picks be hitting. We did hit a prize picks last week, did we? Daggum dub column.
Dubbed it.
Can't be forgetting them dubs, man. When they come, we got to love on them. We got to love the dub. Yeah, got a great one for you. Let's talk about this Texas A&M and Miami game, man. I listened to Jimbo Fisher's press conference after the game, as like I told you earlier, as I do with all football coaches, before we come in here and sit down and talk about them. I want to know how the coach sees the game that they lost or that they won. I want to know how they absorbed that loss. I want to know how they think they should get better, all those things. And I'm going to be honest with you. That press conference was 8 minutes long after that loss. I said it after the SEC Media Day. I will say it again right now. I don't know how I would ever play for that guy. I just don't. He just does not inspire at all. There's no inspiration when he talks. He rushes to cut off reporters with cliches about getting better. Every answer to every question, Coach, what'd you think about defensive line play? Well, we know, we talked about this week how we got to get pressure. Well, Coach, why didn't you get pressure? Well, we know we got to get pressure. Was it a matter of execution? No, it's not a matter of execution. It's just a matter of we got to get it done. Love that. Coach, why can't we run the ball? Well, we talked about this week how we had to blow guys off the ball. Why didn't you run the ball, Coach? Well, we just got to execute better. Every week when I listen to the guy talk, it's like, yeah, we know. Yeah, we talked about it. Yeah, we got it. Yeah, we got it. Yeah, we got it. Yeah, we know we didn't tackle last week, okay? And then this week we proceeded, after telling people that we got to get better at tackling, and we got to get better at tackling, and we got to get better at tackling, and then we go down to Miami and we give up 272 yards after contact on Saturday. Yeah, woof is right. It doesn't matter, though. It doesn't matter. We can sit here, and every week I feel like I sit here and I tell you, I do not believe in this guy. I do not buy it. I don't. I couldn't imagine seeing myself playing for him. Couldn't imagine his ability to get me up and ready to go every single week like his job is. And we can talk about it every single week, but it really does not matter, okay? Because every single Jimbo Fisher conversation on this network and around college football revolves around one thing, the fact that they can't afford to buy him out. They can. They eventually will, but right now they won't. It's going to cost $76 million at the end of the year. Full stop. Full stop. $76 million wrote in one check. There ain't no payment plans. There ain't no fucking layaway. There ain't nothing for this football coach. It's $76 million right on the spot. And every single year, it de-escalates by $10 million until 2031. Because for some reason, I think it was a 26-10 start to his first 3 seasons as the Texas A&M head coach, made them want to extend Buddy for another 10 years. I don't know why. They signed up for it themselves. They bought into the snake oil salesman, and now Texas A&M is going to have to either eat $76 million or keep eating 15-point L's on the road to a Miami team that was unranked. So, yeah, what do we think about Texas A&M this week?
Well, you went to Miami, a team that is unranked, to a half-full Hard Rock Stadium, and you lost. And you have now people talking about Tyler Van Dyke being in the Heisman conversation. I mean,
insanity. That's
what happened. I mean, you reignited his campaign and his college football career. Mario Cristobal got his win, and they're on the right track. While you, on the other hand, continue to backtrack, continue to no longer be in the discussion of a team that people fear in the SEC, no matter how high the hype gets in the offseason. It always comes crashing down and burning within the first 3 weeks of college football, it seems like. It's the same story that we've been telling about Jimbo Fisher and the Texas A&M Aggies for the last 3 years.
It was funny. I think our analysis on this football game at Thursday when we signed off was that this game was going to be on both sides, the one that they point to and said, yep, that was when I forever gave up. Yep. That was when I forever stopped believing that this coach was the one. What'd you call it?
The shovel bowl.
Yeah, the shovel bowl. Yeah. This is the game that we just start throwing dirt on whoever it is the head coach that lost it, and it's Jimbo. Which again, I think we've come to the conclusion that we're just done. I don't want to say we're not going to talk about one of the biggest football programs in college football, but we're probably not going to talk about them that much anymore because we just don't need to. The analysis is what the analysis is. They are not a national title contending football program because they lack the week in and week out consistency required to be a national championship winning program. Period. Point blank. As for Miami, this game to me was worth every bit of overreacting. They needed this. Mm-hmm. This football program needs this, and they are always like this. They have they're the biggest flash in the pan football program that national powerhouses have. All right, Miami shows up good because we all want them to be so good, so bad. Everybody except for Florida fans and Florida State fans have a sense of fandom in themselves about Miami. I don't know why. I don't know what it is. I think it's just because they're cool. It's because of the U, baby. It is. It is everything about that. It's the rainbow visors that Sean Taylor used to wear. It's the hump in the air after the sacks. It's all of it. It's the documentaries. It's everything. Everybody wants Miami to be good, and the offense, they looked fast. I mean, really, really fast offensively on Saturday. The Colby Young kid looks freakish. Now, I know Braxton Berrios is their guy, or whoever the little guy is, whatever his name is, the little white guy they got out there. Speranos.
Yeah.
Or whatever his name is.
I think Berrios is on the Dolphins.
Berrios is on the Dolphins, but it's basically.
Yeah.
It's just one of those guys, you know what I mean? Lunch pail guy. Really brings it. Really works hard. High effort dude. High energy guy. Van Dyke looks almost 40, and he's comfortable as hell. He took his helmet off Saturday, and I was like, damn, AARP. Like, bro looks old, my guy. Like, absolutely old. He walks into class, and they're like, are you a graduate student here? He's like, no, I've actually got both my
You
degrees.
here to teach the class or something?
I'm actually here to teach, ma'am. It's Restrepo. Good. Shouts out to the chat right there hooking us up. Lunch pail guy, my boy Restrepo. They have a defense that's filled with size and speed too. Now, I know they gave up 35 points or 33 points, whatever it was, to Texas A&M. I do think Connor Wegman's really, really good. I watched. That was the most impressive thing about A&M. Without that guy, holy shit, they're in trouble this year. But he's a really good quarterback. But I thought, defensively, they look big and fast. Does Miami? It's a depth thing. It's a consistency thing. But those two safeties, and we talked about it coming into the season, Cam Kitchens and James Williams, about as good as they come from a safety defensive back standpoint. What do we think about Miami this weekend?
They looked good. I think the chat's asking this too. The question is this how good Miami is, or does it just show you how bad Texas A&M really is?
I don't think that's what it is, because Miami had to score.
Yeah.
And score a lot in this football game.
Yeah, well,
and it's not like Texas A&M can't put it up.
Right. I don't think it matters, honestly. When you beat a team that has a name such as Texas A&M in your program that's been down. I mean, you lost to Duke in Middle Tennessee last year. It doesn't matter how good A&M is. You needed this win, and they got it. So I think that's the story here.
I mean, you're just out here serving up flaming takes today, baby. I love it.
I'm on one.
You came ready.
I was just going to say, Miami looked the part. They looked the part of a team that can compete in the ACC this year, especially when you're going to have to compete against – they play FSU, right? They're on the schedule. Yeah, you're going to have to compete against an FSU. You can say what you want about Clemson, but that's a team you're going to have to compete against in this conference. I think they looked the part of a team that can be in that upper tier of that conference.
I'm with you. Speaking of a team that is in the upper tier, I'm doing it. I'm buying the Colorado hype. I am. And here's why. The first week, Shedeur Sanders impressed me with his ability to decipher information, get it to the correct read. He did not make a bad throw against TCU. Every ball went to the exact right spot at the exact right time. He was never late. He managed the pocket tremendously. He just processed information perfectly. So I watched that game, and I'm like, okay, Colorado's got a processor. They got a distributor of the football, which is the quarterback's job, and he's damn good at it. He's accurate, makes good decisions, he's on time. And then I go watch him play against Nebraska, and Buddy was, running around the field. He was extending plays. He was making plays outside the pocket. He had a touchdown late in that football game, midway through the third quarter, where he kind of like shucks up underneath a defensive lineman. Defensive lineman goes flying over his back. He makes another guy miss, tight ropes the sideline, throws one sidearm to the guy in the end zone. It was, I know this gets used a lot. It was Mahomes-like. It was Mahomes-esque in the sense that, yep, da-na-na, like that is a top 10 Sports Center play. So we got a guy that is clearly, obviously, processing information really well, very comfortable in his offense. Despite the fact that it's a brand new play caller for him, the head coach from Kent State, so there's the OC now. It's not the guy that they brought from Jackson State. This is a new offense for him. It's new terminology. He goes out week one, just out there making plays. He goes out there week two, just out there making plays in a completely different way. I'm telling you right now, is TCU great? No, I do not think they are a very good to great football team. Is Nebraska good? No, Jeff Sims is abhorrent as an option at quarterback. But this quarterback at Colorado, this dude is going to put them in games. Colorado's going to be such a tough out this year. Every team's going to struggle with them because they're going to be able to put up points and put up a lot of them.
So I've got a question on. You're buying them, obviously.
I'm buying them because of Shedeur. The rest of the stuff is ancillary to me. It's no different than why I buy USC, but to a different extreme. They have better, assets around them.
So my question is, where do you value them? Because obviously, I don't think you would put USC and Colorado in the same category yet.
No.
What are you buying them as?
Well, I'll go ahead and spoil it. They're number 12 on my top 12 rankings.
Oh, wow.
I think Colorado can hang with just about anybody in college football because I personally believe, unless your name is Billy Napier, if you have a first-round draft pick, which I think Shedeur Sanders is, if you have a first-round draft pick at the quarterback position, you can win any game you go out on the field against on Saturdays.
Yeah,
And
especially
that's what he is to me.
especially out in the Pac-12, and those are the teams that
Yes.
you're going up against. And the good news is we're going to find out about your stock in Colorado because they got USC and Oregon right up on the schedule after
By
this
the
week.
way, impeccably coached. Impeccably coached. They don't have missed assignments. They don't bust assignments. They don't have guys running wide open downfield. They don't have pre-snap penalties. They just don't. Against TCU, TCU is the team at home that had 5 false starts. 5. Colorado does not beat themselves. They went through a sloppy first half of offensive football against Colorado or against Nebraska and just kept on ticking. They made adjustments at half, came out in the second half, beat the shit out of Nebraska. They are a well-coached football team with a good quarterback. I am buying, I'm not buying national title contention. I think that's a bit much because just like I'm not buying any Pac-12 national title contention.
Okay.
We didn't at the beginning of the year. We're not doing it now. We know the schedules are way, 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 way too tough. And with Colorado being good now and competitive, and a tough out, that makes the Pac-12 even worse. There are 5 football teams out there that could beat you any single Saturday, and now Colorado's in that mix. So no, I don't buy them from a national title contention standpoint, but I buy them from they are real. They are a real football team. They do real things on Saturdays.
So it's like an 8-4, 9-3 team.
100%.
Okay, cool. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I was wrong about him. I thought Nebraska.
I was too, dude. I thought 80 scholarship turnover. Dude, no way. No way you're going to be week in, week out consistently good. It's just it's a testament to how good of a coaching job he's done. He has.
Did you see what Mel Kiper said about Shadur? He said that he claims that he thinks Shadur has a decision to make about this year because he says if he were to stay another year at Colorado, everybody talks about him the same way they talk about Caleb Williams right now. And that he thinks it wouldn't actually be a bad decision for him to forego the draft this year, stay another year at Colorado, and build up his stock even more, despite him thinking that he is a top 3 quarterback prospect already.
Come out with Travis.
Yeah, I mean,
but if you come out this year, coming out with Caleb Williams and Drake May. And,
No, I'm saying spend another year with Travis in college and then y'all come out together.
Oh, I thought you meant Jordan Travis.
yeah, I can see an argument for it, just like we made the argument for Carson Beck. Maybe that's a reason why he wouldn't go into the draft this year.
I think he's coming back, period, now.
Yeah, but still, I mean, if people are saying that he is a top 3 quarterback prospect in this class right behind Drake May, Caleb Williams, then I find that still hard to pass up on and not enter the draft.
Yeah, no, I mean, and there's a fall off after Drake May, I believe. I mean, you're getting into that discussion where it's, hey, Shadur Sanders or Spencer Rattler. Hey, Shadur Sanders or Sam Hartman. Hey, Shadur Sanders or Riley Leonard. Hey, Shadur Sanders. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's a lot of toss-ups after that number 2 spot.
Well, it's going to also be a very inflated market come April. It was last year
Insane.
too, and so I mean, there's going to be at best there's going to be 5 teams that take a quarterback in the first round. There's 9 guys right now that you're saying this could be a first round guy. So I mean, that's not even adding Carson Beck or Shadur Sanders. So I think it's going to be very interesting to see how it plays out.
I'm buying, though. I was buying him at Jackson State. I wasn't out here giving opinions or watching Jackson State football, but I remember watching his highlights and being like, no, that's a quarterback. That's a dude. He's out here doing what you're supposed to. He's out here processing information. He's not just dicking around. Hey, there's some Mel Tucker news. He's been put on temporary leave after being accused for sexual assault. I don't have any thoughts or opinions on coaches being accused of sexual assault and therefore being put on temporary leave. Boys, we don't have any opinions?
No.
I think we can move on. All right. There it is. There's the news right there. We are a college football show, so we have to give you college football news. There's the college football news from today. It's pretty ugly, it sounds like. Here's the real news, though. After a 3-8 is the SEC right now, out of conference football games.
Oh, is that what it is?
I believe it is.
It's that bad?
Dude, it's bad. It's really, really bad.
Yikes.
Is the SEC bad this year? LSU got smoked by Florida State. South Carolina got literally ransacked by UNC. Alabama got beat by Texas. Shouts out to the Big 12. TAMU, Texas A&M got their doors blown off by Miami. Florida got beat by Utah's backup, who lost to Baylor damn near the next week, who lost to North Texas to start the season. Florida must be awful. Utah must be bad. But they beat Florida with their backup quarterback, so Florida must be god-awful. Hell, Vandy even lost to Wake Forest. The SEC out here getting just titty-banged to start the season.
And even the wins, like the Auburn win against California, I would have been better off watching paint dry that night.
Dude, I meant to put it in my notes. I can't. You can't make me. You cannot make me watch Cal football. Something about that blue and yellow, I just can't watch it. I cannot. It's god awful. Even when Marshawn, shouts out to Marshawn, but even when Marshawn Lynch was there, not watching it. I don't care if you grab a golf cart every quarter. I'm not.
To be fair, Cal football was fun. You had Marshawn and A-Rod there.
No.
But other than that, no, it was a painful game to watch.
It was horrible.
Yeah.
There was no juice. Even like rotating Robbie Ashford and Peyton Thorne in there, it was just nothing was happening. For both teams offensively, there was just nothing happening on offense
There wasn't
whatsoever.
even Foose.
Yeah, no foos.
No, not even Foose.
Didn't even bring the foos. Fans
No.
didn't even bring the foos.
So even that win didn't feel like a true win.
But on to the SEC thing, I think, and I told Jay Will this later, I don't know if those stats, yeah, SEC's having a down year just statistically. But I think it's also because everyone's kind of not good right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even the top teams in the conferences. Ohio State has looked pedestrian on offense at times. Georgia has had slow starts, as we've said. Texas, yeah, they just beat Bama, but they looked inconsistent prior to that. Pac-12, obviously, we have their issues. Oregon barely beat Texas Tech. So, I mean, it's kind of like there aren't really any teams that have risen to the top where, you can say, okay, this is an elite team right now.
That Oregon versus Texas Tech game was a sweater. Oregon,
Bad beat.
Oregon struggled really, really bad early on with just the physicality from Texas Tech's offensive line or defensive line. Texas Tech had a nose tackle that looked like a goddamn fire hydrant in there. He was probably like 5'11", maybe 330. I've seen a couple of these back in the day playing for Delta State. They would always put one of these guys in there. That was, impossible to move. Just a brick. Just an absolute brick in the middle. And that's what Buddy was. But, yeah, they had a real tough time with Texas Tech Saturday.
So I guess my question to you would be, if the SEC is not good this year, if they're down, if they're not the best conference, who would you say is?
Pac-12. And they won't have the results of it. But from, hey, give me your best 5 football teams, the Pac-12's best 5 is better than anybody's best 5.
Yeah, through 2 weeks, I would agree. Pac-12 is the best conference right now in college football.
USC, Oregon, Utah, Washington, and I'm forgetting one, USC.
No, you said USC.
As you said.
Did you not say Colorado?
Colorado.
5. There are 5 football teams right there that I would put up against anybody's 5. That's better than the Big Ten's 5 because the Big Ten's only got 3. Mm-hmm. That's better than what is the SEC's 5?
That's the thing, and no one really knows.
Ole Miss was in a 4-quarter fight against Tulane this week.
Yeah, just happened to pull away late. That game looked a little uglier than it actually was.
Yeah.
And then Tennessee plays Virginia week 1, and then Virginia goes and loses to James Madison.
We called it.
In week 2. Yeah, exactly. It's like even those out-of-conference wins for the SEC doesn't look great. So Tennessee beats Virginia, but then you go the next week and you play who they played this last week?
Austin Peay. They
Austin
were barely
Peay.
beating them in halftime.
Yeah, at halftime they were getting stuffed into a locker, as you said. So it's just we really don't know.
The chat's giving us crap for the Pac-12 answer. I beg you, bring me 5 better teams than that. Seriously, from any other conference, bring me 5 better teams.
I think top to bottom it is the best conference, top to bottom.
But just
obviously the heavy hitters
supremacy.
The heavy hitters are gonna obviously there's not a Pac-12 team that's gonna go up against Georgia or Ohio State.
Yeah.
Or even at this point Texas.
If I dwindled it down to just 3 teams, I would take the Big Ten.
Yeah.
If I would dwindle it down to a week in and week out, who's the deepest 1 through 14, where you walk up and there's NFL players, I'm taking the SEC. If I'm taking which conference are all of these teams most similar in terms of skill sets, abilities, and play, I would take the Big 12. You see what I'm saying? But in terms of who's going to win a national title at the end of the year? Probably the SEC or the Big Ten. Mm-hmm. Those are my answers because the Pac-12 does what they do on their own scheduling. Hey, we got anything else on these SEC's bad schedule?
You want to look at the Heisman updates?
No, but I do want to give my top 12 before we do Heisman updates.
Go
Or do
ahead,
you want to
rip
do
it
Heisman updates?
No,
first?
it's your show.
No.
All right. Our show.
It's our show.
We're we guys around here.
Oh,
I'm a front of the jersey kind of guy.
stop.
You know what I mean? I'm not a back of the jersey kind of guy. Spent 3 years being a me guy. Now we're we guys around here. I like being a we guy. Makes my job a lot easier, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Makes my job a whole
here
lot
for
easier, a whole lot more fun when I get to do work with other people. And I hope you guys have felt that. I hope you felt that I've got more juice. We're sure as shit producing more content. All right, and that's a byproduct of these boys right here helping us out. Let's do this top 12. We'll go from 12 to 1. I do have Colorado.
Are we just reacting to it?
What do you mean, you guys?
Yeah.
You just save your thoughts for the end. Save the applause for the end of the show. Number 12, I got Colorado. I think, like I said earlier in the show, the TCU win, The Nebraska win, the reason they're at number 12 right now for me is because of their quarterback play. All right, and how well they are coached. I believe in their offensive coordinator. I believe in their head coach. I think they've got one of the best non-quarterback playing position players in all of the sport of college football in Travis Hunter. They're going to be an extremely, extremely tough out this year. I got them in at number 12. Alabama at number 11. I still think they're one of the nation's best football programs, despite the fact that they didn't quite figure it out against Texas. But I will tell you, if they can't figure out how to develop an offense that is predicated off of singular reads for their quarterback and a quarterback run game, then they're probably going to have the same issues that they had Saturday, all right? I didn't see enough of a quarterback design run game from Jalen Milroe. If the quarterback battle was actually that tight, then you shouldn't be worried about Jalen Milroe getting hurt anyways. So put him in and get some type of design run game in there, or else you're going to become stagnant offensively. I hate it, but I got Tennessee at number 10. I don't love what I've seen from Joe Milton. I don't love what I've seen from the offense entirely. I still believe that if you can stop the run with 5 or 6 guys in the box, you will make Tennessee constipated. They will not be able to move the football. They won't. They'll just be poopless in the middle of the field. All right? There won't be anything there. Washington at number 9. Kirby like down. Washington at number 9. You guys know my Penix love will be quick there. Defense is going to be the main issue. If they lose football games, it's because they lost 45-42. Notre Dame at number 8. Believe Sam Hartman is the best quarterback they've had in a long, long time. I like the way that they controlled NC State on Saturday. Ohio State at number 7. Ohio State fans can be like, oh, Penn State's ahead of us. What the hell? Their quarterback's better. Period. Point blank. I like Drew Aller more than I like, what's my man's name?
McCord.
Kyle McCord. I like him better. Sorry. Hate me. Penn State at number 6. USC at number 5. I know most of our base is Georgia fans. I know he doesn't have a bunch of stats, but he's popping off tape. Bear Alexander, he pops, man. I know y'all don't like to hear that, but that dude explodes off the ball. He's got an elite first step. He causes problems. He caused an interception this weekend against Stanford. He gets in the backfield and gets in the backfield quickly. Their defense is coming along. They were up 45-0 on Samford in 25 minutes of game time.
Yeesh.
That is stupid.
I don't think you can do that in NCAA 14.
I don't think so either. It's a game. It's a Power 5 football team. That's a Pac-12 opponent. I know they've cleaned roster since the head coach has changed. I understand that. But that's a Power 5 football team. They scored 45. They scored 9 touchdowns in 25 game minutes. That's stupid as shit. That's a scary, scary football team. Texas at number 4. I do think they've got the biggest win on the college football slate this year. It's consistency. I don't trust them to finish out the schedule this way. I just don't. Until they do, I won't. I got them at number 4. Florida State number 2. Florida State number 3. Michigan number 2. And Georgia number 1. I do think Michigan might be the most balanced football team in all of college football right now, just because I think they have one of the better quarterbacks in college football right now. I think J.J. McCarthy is playing some damn good football up there at the Big House. Thoughts, boys?
Well, not to mention Michigan's doing it without their head coach right now, so props to
How
them.
could they ever?
Free him.
It's crazy.
Poor
Free my
guy's
boy.
doing community service holding the chains at a Little League football game, too.
Was he really?
Yeah, on Saturday, that's what he was doing. He was having a service, community service.
Shouts out.
Yeah.
I don't have a joke.
What a
about
good
that.
man.
Yeah, what a good guy.
What a wholesome man, that Harbaugh.
But I think that is the quarterback play is the big difference for me about Michigan this year, because the offense is just, to me, it always felt a little bit bland, like it was always missing something. Like you had Blake Corum, the running game was great, the offensive line was great, the defense had some dudes on it. But this year, J.J. McCarthy out there spinning it, has the highest QBR in all of college football right now. That's a big difference for me with Michigan.
Yeah, I mean, they're the 2-time Joe Moore winning offensive line. Whether you believe they truly are or not, they do look balanced. I do want to kind of see what they can do against better opponents. That's
We got a couple weeks for that.
Yeah, but it's week 2. I mean, these reactions are going to change. Like you said, Texas probably isn't going to finish the season at 4. So
I think they got East Carolina this week and then Rutgers next week. So
Tough
just
slate.
a real brutal slate there for Michigan to open up the season, as Georgia's as well.
Remind me what your 4 playoff teams were.
To start the season?
Yeah.
I had Georgia at 1, Michigan at 2, Ohio State at 3, and
No, FSU
Florida
was
State
3.
at 4.
I actually saw it today. FSU was
was
3.
at 3?
Yeah.
And Ohio State was at 4.
It's looking pretty good.
It is looking
Holding
pretty
up.
nice.
Doing well.
Is Florida State Clemson's next week, right?
Next week. Noon.
Yeah.
Put it at noon.
Nooner.
Dude, did you see that Dabo and Clemson were kind of, I'm not going to say struggling, but they were kind of hurting against Charleston Southern?
Did you see the O-line play?
Oh, dude. You ain't got to tell me. I already know. What did I tell y'all to start the season? Porous. Absolute
gonna be
porous.
good.
Holes like Swiss cheese out there. Give me a Heisman update right quick. I want to see what this
All right,
Heisman
so I
is.
did. There's a lot of guys with similar odds, so I just rattled off like the top 14.
Sods.
Number 1, Caleb Williams. Number 2, Jordan Travis. Number 3, Michael Penix. Those are all below 1,000. So then gets into the 1,100. Quinn Ewers, J.J. McCarthy. You're gonna love this one. Number 6, Bo Nix. Drew Aller. Number 8, Shadur Sanders with plus 2,600 odds.
That's a good bet right there.
You think he'll? You think?
I mean, just for the odds, just for the juice. I mean, you put $100 on that, you win almost $3,000.
Yeah. I don't have $100 to throw around like that, but feel free. Where was I? Next is Sam Hartman. They both have the same odds. Then all 4 of these guys have plus 3,100. Joe Milton, Kyle McCord, Marvin Harrison, Dylan Gabriel, and then 14th with 3,600 is Travis Hunter.
I think Vegas is fading Colorado because of the losses, but an 8-4 Colorado team puts Shadur Sanders or Travis Hunter in New York, right?
If you win 8 games, yeah.
I mean, if he keeps playing like this, yeah. The reality is, like, again, as good as they played, and as wrong as we've been about them, and as much as we're buying in, they've played Nebraska and a very bad TCU team.
Absolutely.
They haven't truly been tested yet. They haven't played the Oregons and the USCs of the world. If they have good games against that, absolutely. Absolutely, they're in New York. But still got to wait and see.
All right. That has been NBR. Appreciate you guys for being here. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button on your way out. We'll be here tomorrow and Wednesday and Thursday.